The housing market is beginning to pick up in Bristol. Banks are starting to loan again and people are moving into their new homes. Ralph Perry is the executive director for the Tennessee Housing Development Agency.
I think the economic turndown that we've seen in the last 5-6 years has really driven home to people that housing is really important to a strong, healthy economy. The economy recovers when housing recovers. And housing historically recovers when the first-time home buyer returns in great numbers. That's what we do at THDA. We serve primarily that first-time home buyer. So it's important for us to know that if this is the time that you're thinking about that first-time home purchase, you owe it to yourself to take a look at THDA financing, and it's available through dozens of banks that do business here in East Tennessee. You'll find competitive rates, you'll find some underwriting flexibilities that other folks can't give you. We're one of the last remaining sources of down payment and closing cost assistance. And in a lot of counties in East Tennessee, you don't actually have to be a first-time home buyer. So this can be an opportunity for you to use our financing and make that move up a little bit easier for you. We're really making that push to talk about our products because we sense that more people who have postponed home ownership while they're waiting to see whether this is where they want to live or how do I feel about my employment, they're getting ready now. They're looking for places to buy, and we're an excellent value for that first-time buyer of modest means. We want them to know we're out there.
That down payment assistance is a big deal. It's usually thousands of dollars, and few people in this economy are sitting on that kind of money. And if you have that down payment, the bank still has to agree to loan you a larger sum of money.
For good reason, lending tightened up. I mean, probably 10 years ago, your dog could have gotten a mortgage, and I think everyone recognizes that those kinds of abuses were bad, and it's not a bad thing to make sure that the person who's borrowing has both an ability and willingness to pay the money back, that you have verifiable earning that's going to support the house that you're going to buy, that you're not getting overextended, that there aren't any gimmicks to the mortgage that are going to rise up and bite you financially 3 years down the road. The advantage we have as the state's housing finance agency is that we have exemptions to some of those new mortgage lending rules that the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau has established. Now, they're modest modifications. Whereas most lenders will need to see a 640 credit score at a minimum, we can still work with customers who are about 620. By and large, most lenders want to see a 43% debt-to-income ratio. We can still work with people who are closer to 45. Now, we're going to insist that you get 8 hours of real home buyer education on the front end from somebody that we've certified to do it, because we want to be comfortable that you know what you're getting into, and by and large, all of our buyers appreciate that sort of information too. So, a more flexible product, it makes it easier for our lenders to say yes to someone they would otherwise have to turn down. And of course, we do make down payment and closing cost assistance available to those who qualify, and we'll give you up to 4% of the purchase price of your home. So those two things in combination really make THDA financing a very attractive package. We've got competitive rates, and we're taking some steps to be able to offer a broader variety of mortgage options to the lenders that do business with us. But this is the way we think we help Tennessee's economy get going again, by getting that first-time buyer back in the market. You know, that has a ripple effect. It's not just the people buying that first home, it's the people who have to sell that house in order to move up to something else. So we think as we increase the number of first-time buyers getting in there, that just has a good impact all the way up and down the housing scale, and that's how we get our economy moving again. The best way to find out about the mortgage products that lenders offer through THDA is the new website that we've launched, which is greatchoicetn.com. You go to that website, and whether you're a first-time buyer, a repeat buyer, a military family or veteran or serving member of the National Guard, it'll give you a good overview of the products. It'll also give you links to information about who locally can help you with counseling and who our local lender partners are. So that's a great tool and resource out there for people thinking about buying.
And first-time home buyer doesn't necessarily mean you've never owned a home before.
If you have not owned a home in the last 3 years, you count as a first-time home buyer. But in many counties of East Tennessee, not Washington, not Sullivan, but many of the others in this area, you don't actually have to be a first-time home buyer. So I would ask your lender about that as well. You might be, as long as you're still buying a home that's in our price points and your earnings fall within the range of customer that we can serve, and it's a pretty good range. I think the income, the median family income that we can serve in the Tri-Cities area is going to be about $65,000 a year. So we can serve a great number of people who are looking to buy that first home, and depending on where you're buying it, you may not even have to be a first-time home buyer.
So if you're looking at moving into the ranks of people who own instead of rent, go to greatchoicetn.com. Having your own home is a great thing.